morning.
Good morning.
I kind of forgot for a second we were doing live. Like I hit record and then promptly started to read something on my computer. Wow. Okay, well, whatever. Welcome to
Well,
Daily
you
Dose.
already had one big Zoom meeting today.
I know, a successful business adventure happened this morning for the Arts Partnership, so that was good. Yeah, always good. Sorry, didn't mean to get quite so close to the camera there. So today we're talking about the new series on Masterpiece called Us with Tom Hollander, right? Is that his name? Yes, Tom Hollander, and a woman named Saskia Reeves, who you would, I think, will likely recognize if you watch Masterpiece stuff. She played Hugh Laurie's wife in Roadkill, which was also really interesting.
She was in Luther too.
She was? We loved Luther.
Well, you like the actor.
I love Idris Elba. Yes, what's not to love? Come on, give me a break. So anyway, it's a kind of a 4-part series, and it's about a couple who are, our age-ish, who have one son who's getting ready to go off to college. And so they are going to take this grand summer holiday all over Europe. They're obviously English because it's Masterpiece. But they are going to do this long, I don't know, maybe 6-week trip. Super extensive. And the husband is a biochemist, and the wife is an artist, and the son is very artistic, going off to art school. And so we watched the first 2 episodes Sunday night, and I said to Maz, we need to talk about this show. And he said, well, let's finish it before we talk about it. So we finished it last night. And I was like one of those, it was ugly cry time for me. Super mucusy crying, you know how sometimes you just like everything kind of falls out of you. These were not little tears that ran down my face.
You were sobbing.
I was kind of sobbing. And here's why. Well, I want to show you a picture. I'm sorry to do it this way, but I don't know how else to do it. This picture, I think, represents the movie.
Move it just a little bit further in with. Yeah, I think they can see that.
So obviously the dad is going one way and the mom and the son are going another way. And, they're very judgmental of him, and he's very isolated, and they are very much in sync. And the reason that I struggled with this series was because I have always known since Maz got sober that I played a role in his fall into alcoholism. He doesn't like to agree with that. You're certainly entitled to your own opinion. I'm not telling you your opinion is wrong. I'm telling you that my opinion is that I played a role in it. And it was confirmed for me when we went to our first mandatory couples session. And the therapist, we've talked about this, but the therapist said to Maz, all right, if you think about a 3-legged stool, your one leg, Dana's one leg, what is the 3rd leg of your stool, Maz? And Maz said, alcohol. And I looked at him and thought, yes, it is. And then the therapist turned to me and he said, what's the 3rd leg of your stool, Dana? And I had to and was gifted with the opportunity to look at that image and say, Quinn. And there's nothing wrong with choosing your child from time to time. But I never, in our entire lives, and certainly not in our married life, I never prioritized you over Quinn. Never. It was Quinn and me and you. And it was even, unconsciously that, because Quinn is my biological child and you are his step-parent. And while I don't think of it that way, it's factual. And, Quinn looks like me, Quinn is like me. And the more that Quinn and I went this way, you went that way. And the more that you went that way, the more Quinn and I went this way. So I can't say it's because you started drinking that Quinn and I went this way. And I can't say it's because Quinn and I went this way that you started drinking. But both things are true. And in this series, the mother and son are really in sync. And the father and son are really out of sync. And the husband and wife are really out of sync. And that is exactly where we were. For different reasons. This is not a story about alcoholism. But it doesn't matter. He is totally alone in this story. And you get why the mother and son have made the tight bond that they have. You totally get it. And it's not about judging them. It's not about judging him. It was just incredible to me. I watched for almost 4 hours. I watched our journey play out with different story arc and different outcome. But it was very hard for me.
It was very hard for you.
And I think it was hard for me because I feel some real guilt around having done that, and some regret. And then I also feel no regret about it because I'm so crazy about Quinn. And that, again, I'm not speaking about your relationship with Quinn. I'm just speaking about my relationship with Quinn. I am crazy about Quinn. We are very, very close.
Stay, keep with it. Stay with it. You're doing well.
But what is important is that in my quest to be close to Quinn, to create a bond that would endure past him living across the hallway from us, in some ways, I denied you the opportunity to make your own relationship with Quinn, which doesn't mean you didn't have a great relationship with Quinn. But those middle years, again, I didn't consciously do that. And I can't say, well, because you started drinking, I tried to pick up the slack, or because I was so consumed with Quinn, you started drinking. I can't answer that. And I don't know that it matters now.
No.
Do you have thoughts on any of this, Dr. Mary?
I disagree with it completely, that it's any of your fault whatsoever. But
Do you think that's because you've been told that, though? That some of AA is about you must own all of this entirely for yourself?
that's a fantastic question. I can't actually honestly answer that one.
Because I don't know how anybody on the outside who really got an insight into the three of us could look at us and go, Dana, you never picked Maz. You never picked him. And nobody wants to be the last person picked for dodgeball over and over and over again. I was always the last person picked for dodgeball. Ask me if I want to play dodgeball today as an adult. Let me promise you I sure do not.
Well, you gotta look after your ankles.
Yes, but you know what I mean? Nobody wants to be the last one picked consistently, and you were always that. So I'm not saying, so what choice did you have but to become an alcoholic? You had lots of choices. That was the choice that happened. But how can you, this sounds like what I'm looking for here is for you to say, fine, you're right, it's 100% your fault. I'm not saying that. But how can we not assume that some of that was just out of feeling like, gosh, I married this woman, I took this child into my life, lock, stock, and barrel, even before we were married, and boy, it's still not apparently enough. I'm still not important enough. How can that not be a possibility?
It could be. I don't really know.
Well, why do you feel like it? What's the harm in acknowledging that I probably contributed to this?
Because it might not be true.
But you know that it is.
I don't.
Okay. Sometimes I worry, and I wonder if this is true of other people who live with addicts in recovery. I worry sometimes that Maz thinks he can't be critical of me because I stayed and put up with so much. And I don't want that to be the case.
No, I mean, you did, and you have, and it all worked out fantastically well, but I honestly don't know the answer to that one, and I'm not going to let you take any blame for something that might not be your fault.
Well, to be fair, there are plenty of people to pass some blame on to. I don't take 100% of the blame. For sure, I do not.
There you go.
Yeah,
That makes me feel
I mean,
better.
I think I need to take some of the blame. Certainly, I do take some of the blame. I did not shove alcohol down your throat, but I gave you plenty of reasons to just go to the basement and drink.
And I also gave myself plenty of
Absolutely.
reasons to do that. So.
You know what? This isn't to let you off the hook.
I know.
You're the freaking alcoholic, buddy, not me.
There we go.
Believe me, I do not. I don't take more blame than I put on
No, but
you.
you shouldn't take blame for something that might not be your fault. That's all I'm worried about.
Well,
The thing is, we worked through all this. One of the reasons we do this is because, you know, like you said, must have been just over a year ago, someone said to us, "I can't believe you two are so perfect." And then we thought, we are now, but we didn't used to
we're
be.
not even perfect now.
Well, I am.
You know, yesterday we had this whole weird disagreement on the way home from Spin about a topic I wanted to talk about on Daily Dose, and Maz just absolutely said no. And so it wasn't a fight, but it was a disagreement, because to me it's a super interesting topic, and Maz said, "Yeah, I don't want to talk about that." Okay, we're perfect, for heaven's sakes. We're not perfect. Nobody thinks we're perfect.
No.
I know they don't. Because that's just silly.
We're not.
No, I don't even strive for perfection. What a waste of time. I strive to be cordial to Republicans. That's about all I really strive to do.
You actually suck at that.
I do.
That's just-
And I'm so good. That's what's amazing. I'm terrible at it, and I'm really trying. Really trying. Unless I just outright have no regard for you, and then I don't try at all, because why would I? If you're not worthy of my estimation because you have no integrity, then I'm not interested in you at all. And you can be any political party, and I can feel that way about you.
You will always know where Dana Devell thinks, which is probably why we're not jetting off across the world whilst Dana works for the State Department.
I would be a very poor CIA agent. That is true.
Diplomatic.
Yes, nope, those are not my strengths. I really encourage you to watch us. You might watch it and have no real response to it, or you might just really enjoy it. It's actually a really pretty compelling story.
It is incredibly well done, and it's the. I'm not going to give it away, but the way it ended to me was just perfect, because
I agree.
everything fell into place for both of them.
Yes, for all three of them, actually.
Yeah, all three of them.
And what's lovely is that it's not a fairy tale. It's absolutely feasible that that ending could be the ending of those three people's lives, which is great. And so I'll just give you this parting thought. I went on a date to Mrs. Doubtfire my junior year of college. You know, a lot of people find Mrs. Doubtfire really funny. I sobbed through Mrs. Doubtfire because it felt in many ways, not that my dad is anything like Robin Williams, because he is not, but it felt in many, many ways like my parents' divorce. It was that movie was really hard for me. Well, that was not what Mrs. Doubtfire was going for.
Yeah, I don't get films like that, you know, like comedies of based around divorce, because you're the first product of a divorced family I ever met.
That's astonishing. That's astonishing.
Because when you said your parents are divorced, I just went, wow. That was like above, hey, I've got a 5-year-old. I went, oh, my parents are divorced. Whoa.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, so you might watch us and just find it entertaining. But
The show us, not us.
Well, of course you find us entertaining. I do think that it just will give you some insight into our lives pre-Maz's sobriety that was moving to me, moving and difficult. It's hard to see yourself
You did-
depicted.
you did find that watching that difficult.
I did, but I'm
It is
glad
a-
I saw it.
But if you're afraid of watching it, don't. If this isn't an issue for you, it is actually just a very
Yeah.
well written and incredibly well acted
You know,
little
it's
documentary.
masterpiece, so of course it's good. All right, that's enough for today. Have an excellent Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.